SP404 MK2, and I've got it plugged in already. We got this little diagram going here, this actual display, but just hit a pad and you're right back there. So it's sort of like it's the standby mode. Now for this video, I'm going to use these 6 batteries go in there. I'm going to use this also to make a comparison between inputs. We got a cable here, I got my bass guitar, and then right here I'm using a simple device. This is just a Bose speaker right there, which I use for my tracks. So I can come in here also, I've got some stuff here prepared. Some levels here. That's pretty good. Put some keyboards also at the same time. We've got a power cord plugged in here, and so that's why I've got this going on. But you can also use batteries in your SP404 MK2, and then I can also plug in my guitar anytime I want to. Got a bass guitar I'm going to use, and it makes it easy to use this machine. It's a really great machine. I kind of like it a lot because it's simple, and if you don't have anything, you can stuff a little speaker and you get the output, and you can do pretty much anything with it. So let's get busy and check out our SP404 MK2. Now here's the front. And you can see here we have our phono section, so I can plug my headset in here. So I've got these like, these are pretty cool. These Apple AirPods, which I can plug into here also as well. Right there. Right here rather. And then I've got a Sony headset, pretty much cool headset here, and I can just grab this. I prefer Sony because it's got some nice headphones. I put it in here, I'll pop it in there, and I'm good to go. And I can also, if I want to, or you want to, want to get even a better connection, you think it's going to be better for you, I always have this too as well. So I'll take that and just plug it into here like this. And that goes right in there. So we can use either one of these jacks for headphones. Now during the process of recording this video, I also use this microphone as well. It's a pretty cheap microphone, but I like it. It's kind of cool. It's easy to use. Right there. And I prefer to have it with a ground, so XLR cable. That's when I plug it in like this. See if that's right. Yep, that's correct. That snaps in, and there's my microphone. Now, before I plug it in, it's important to realize that it's a microphone, right? So you might have some feedback or something. So you want to come to right here, this little knob right here. I want to sort of turn that down all the way. This is the gain knob for the microphone input, or the input right here. Now, when this is switched to here, that's in mic. And I'll plug it into here. I put it on, and now I'm going to talk to the microphone slowly, but surely. Bring it up slowly, surely. Okay, so you take your time bringing your microphone up, and that way you won't have any problems with your mic. Also get a windscreen, which would help a lot with the low bass proximity effect that happens when you get too close to the microphone. But it's pretty good. We've tested it. It works really good. No problem with having some fun with your system, your SP404 MK2, with a microphone hooked up. I'm going to turn to guitar here. Switch to guitar there. Keep this low. Let me get a cable from the bass guitar here and plug it in right there. My bass guitar plugged in there. I got it. That's it right there. Our bass guitar, of course, and we're plugged in here. Now this switch here is going to guitar. Other direction is mic. This is guitar, and of course we're going to keep our gain down. And so now, we're going to go to here, I'm going to hit the external source button. So you can still hear it a little bit. Just low gain, we can still hear it a little bit. I'll turn it up. And we got our bass. Of course, you got your power supply that came with your SP404 Mark II. Plug it in here. And then, of course, make sure it's DC in. We got our on and off switch right here. Now, next to that, we have a USB, which is kind of cool. I like that it's USB now. The USB goes right in here, and that's my USB-C plug-in. The other end will go into my computer. Now, what's cool about this is that we can actually use the Roland software to sort of load samples from our computer directly onto our SP404, which is kind of cool. Now, next right here, we have our MIDI in and our MIDI out. Now, here we have right and left. This is the line in. And what you want to do here, I got my guitar, and I would put my guitar right here, put the bass guitar right there, and the other line would go directly into the bass. Pretty simple to do. And I can actually play into the system. Now, if you have a keyboard, let's say a stereo keyboard, pretty simple to do. You want to plug your stereo input in. So you're going to go in to right, and then you want to go into left. And now you have a stereo input going into your SP404 Mark II. Now also, here for the line out, here's line out right here. We can go here, mono line out, or I can come to here, I can go right, and then left output, and I have stereo output to any device. Could be a DJ, you could be doing some work at a club, or it could be in a contest or whatever, you know, making beats or whatever. You can go directly into a stereo system, or if you're going to go to a mixing board, you go right and left, right out there. You get both sides and just control your panning within your SP404 Mark II. Of course, right here we have a little lock we can use as well. You need to have a compact flash card, 32 gigabytes. That's it right there. Got my card right here. So I'm gonna pop the card in here real quickly. Boom. Just like that, it's in. And you cannot use anything more than 32 gigabytes. We want to put some batteries in here. This is kind of cool. You can put batteries in here and work the machine, so it's pretty easy to do. You want to get your batteries and put them in there, our double A's. And I'm going to get them in here perfect. Because you can travel with this machine. Say you know a girl can sing really good, and you want to put a track together, and you just want to have her do some quick background so you can get an idea of how it's going to sound. Well, you put your batteries in right there. Got a little sample in there. Going to hit it later on. But as you can see right here, okay, I'm going to unplug the cable. My power source is gone. See what happened? So I have to go in here, of course, and turn it back on. And then we're good to go. So, as you just noticed, the power source cable was on. And it was in there. I unplugged it, and this thing cut off. So be aware of that. Just don't put the batteries in and have the cable in and think you're going to have everything done. Make sure you save when you're working with your SP404 Mark II. It's important to save. Our banks, you can see here it says bank. These are our banks. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different banks buttons. But if I hit this button, it says A now. I come to there, if it blinks, that's F. That's A. That's B. That's G. That's C. That's H. That's D. That's E. That's J. That's I, as you can see. So if I hit a bank here like this and it's blinking, and I go back to this bank, that bank there is F, is A. I make an F. I go back to this bank, it's blinking. I go back to here, it's still in a state of F. So once you hit a bank pad, and then it's in that state, either lit or blinking. It remains in that state until you hit it again, even if you visit another pad. That's important to know, so you don't get mixed up. I'm here, as you can see, we're in F bank, it's blinking there. And so these are the samples we have available here. Okay, cool. I'm gonna go to pattern. Now, I've already erased this pattern here. I'm gonna put a new pattern here right now. So what I wanna do is start to record here. So I'm going to press record. We hit the metronome, right? I picked that pattern right there. That pattern is blank. You see here in the window, our display right here, we got a BPM of 72. We got a length of just 2 bars. So I want to increase this. I'm going to go to control number 2 here and make it 4 bars. My strength's at 100, so I'm going to keep that at 100. That means whenever I hit the pad or something, it's going to fall right on the perfect point because I'm at 16th in the grid. So 16th notes in the grid. Right? And you see here, we're recording on F15, which is right here, and we are in F. So next what I want to do is start recording. So okay, so we got one part in there. Let's hit the end of this thing though. So I want to get rid of that actually. So to get rid of it's pretty simple. I'm going to go to delete here. We're in erase mode. I'm going to erase the whole thing out of it. The end part I don't like. So we're going to go back in again. And make sure it's all erased. Yeah, we're erased now. So I go back into the top again. I only want to hit the pattern twice. Not the full length. There you go. The ending was throwing me off. Metronome is not loud enough. It's pretty simple. I'm going to come to here. I'll press shift. And now, using knob number 3, I can increase the loudness of my metronome. Turn it off. I was recording, I stopped recording. We're going to record right here. Okay, so I'm going to go back and I got an idea for this one here. Stop that. So I'm going to go here to record. Pick this pad here, yep. We're going to record on pad 15. And then we're going to record. Okay, that's good. Now I want to rehearse, so I come back and rehearse with this. After doing all that, I'm going to just play back what I've done so far, and here we are, pad 15. I'm doing some more here, so now I'm going to record here. I can actually record. I can go back to here now. I can rehearse. Okay, I don't want to hit it so hard, so I want to press Shift and then go here to Velocity and turn it on. This is all while we're just making the beat up. I'm in rehearse right now too. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Out of this. So I'm going to go back and erase that. Go to here, erase mode. Back to here. Okay, it's not too bad. Okay, good. So what I want to do now is I want to talk about effects, applying effects to a pattern. So sometimes you want to add an effect maybe on a open hi-hat. Let's go back to here. I'm going to get out of pattern here. We're back in our regular mode here so I can hear the samples. I may want to add a little hi-hat to that, little rather reverb or some sort of delay in there really. So in order to do this, the SP404 has 4 different slots for effects. So one, I can come to here and hit effects, the bus effects here, and you'll see that it's blinking now because I am in 2. If I go to 1, it's not blinking. I go to 2, it's blinking right there. I can add an effect to this. So let's go to 1 first. I'm going to add an effect here. I'm going to add and see drive. So drive, that's 1. So you'll notice everything here is yellow. So that is for bus 1. I don't even hear this open hi-hat. That's that drive sound tied to it. So I'm going to go back in here again to the drive right there. And then while I'm in drive here in 1, I can use a control knob here to change the drive. I want to see if I can get this not to be so rough. Ooh, that's rough there. So I'll pull this down somewhat here. Get this up more. And that's the drive right there, right? So that's my drive setting. So I'm going to go back to drive here. A little flavor like that. Okay, good. So I've got this for the drive setting. Now I'm going to go here, and that was bus number 1. Now I'm in bus number 2. I want to add delay here in bus number 2. Now, we don't hear anything. Now the reason why, this color setting of the pads, they're all tied to bus number 1. So when I go to bus number 1, this is actually tied to this orange coloring. But for my delay to work, which is bus number 2, I've got to route this hi-hat there. In order to do that, I'm going to hold down this bus number 2. I'm going to hit the remain button right here. You'll see that in the display it shows you actually the storage availability, the name, stereo mono, original BPM. We have the pad link and the mute group link, if you want to see that. But actually, what I want to do is change it. So I'm going to change this here to green. Now I hit this. You see it's delaying now. So now we're delaying. I may want to change my delay. The delay is here. It's already on, right? So I'm going to come back and hit delay. I can turn this little knob here. I see my delay setting right there. I may want to just go to like quarter note. Quarter note delay right here. And I want to set this up here for the feedback. And so I've got a feedback there for that. Now I'm going to press shift and I'm going to press effect setting. And you'll notice here in effect setting we have bus 1 and bus 2. But these are separate. These are parallel. So bus 1 is by itself. Bus 2 is by itself. So I can come to here. I'm going to push in this button right here. Enter button. And now bus 1 will feed and go to bus number 2. And then that output will go to bus 3 and 4. So I'll hit this now. Now the bass drum, all these drum sounds are now going from 1, which is the drive, to 2, which is the delay. So we can be in parallel, they can be joined together like that. Or we come back here, we're in parallel, that's by itself. Now you also notice here I have an EQ setup here, which is in bus 3. So when you're here, actually, you can actually assign more effects to sound. So I can come into here, that's 3, and I can push this in here like this, 4, right? And I can change the effects, as you can see here. You'll see at the bottom here, we have some preloaded effects that come with the system too as well. If I go back to here, you'll see it's empty. They're empty now. I'll turn one time here. There's an EQ there. Here. Here's a reverb. So there's a reverb right there. I can apply a reverb to it. And then we have the drive in bus 1. I'll press this in here. Let's go back. Let's actually escape this. Go back to here. You know we have bus 1 has the filter drive and bus 2 has the sync. And when I press shift and I press pad 16, which is effect setting, you'll see here that we also have the reverb in 3. And the 303 wing here in 4. So I can change again. And these are just 3 and 4. I'm adding to it. It's phase, a cassette sound, a little phase. This is bypass right here. Here we bypass everything. Now, in order for me to add a setting, suppose I want to add some sort of effect in bus number 3. It's pretty simple. Now that I'm here and that's empty, I can go here to the controller here, right here, and I can get to bus number 3. As you can see here, this is bus number 3 right here. I can then use my knob here, my push enter knob, and I can scroll. I can get to here. That says bypass right there. Now I push it down. Now I can select an effect. Any effect I want to select. I'll select an EQ. Isolator. Super filter. Filter drive. Saturator. Stronger drive. Distortion. So I can add effects right here, and this will be the 3rd bus. So for example, I'm going to add something here pretty simple, like I'll go with this EQ. That EQ there is for my 3rd bus. And then if I want to add something else, I would go back to here, I'd click this in, and then I'd go up to here. And now you'll see we have bus number 4. And I could use this right here again, this push enter button, turn the knob, I get to where it says bypass, I push it in, I can select another effect. I'll go with compressor. That's good enough for me. And then I want to escape this. I'm going to go here, press exit. Then I'm going to go back in and go to here. I'm going to go to right here. And now what I want to do is see what's here totally. All right? So I see that. So I'm going to go out of this one. Compressor's here. Go out of it again. Then move the top knob here on top. And now you'll see here we have 1, 2, the EQ, and a down arrow. I changed that already to a different effect, but you can see what we have right here. And I can say this to a favorite, which would be 13. So you come with 12, and you can add your own right here, 13, 14, 15, and 16. Now I'll play the track back. Here's the exit here. Go back to pattern mode. That sounds a little distorted, right? But you get the idea. Now watch, I'll pull out this really quickly now. I'm going to go back in here and go into EQ. And I'm going to go directly into my settings, actually. Going to EQ settings right here. And I'm going to get rid of my last 2 items here. And I'm going to bypass them totally. And now, I go back to here. So you can hear that this hi-hat has a delay on that. So I'm going to go here to my delay. Let's escape this. Add more delay to the hi-hat. Adding more effects in. Stop that. Now what I can also do here, I can stop effects. So we already know that we have effects in banks 1 and 2, or Reverb buses 1 and 2 have effects. What I can also do here, I may not want an effect on some instruments, just to have something to just differentiate the sound. And so what I'll do here, I'll come back and here, I'll go to remain. First I'll leave this pattern mode, and now I see the I don't want it to go to any effects. So I'm going to take this sound right here. I'm going to go to remain here. And once it goes to white right there, it's dry. It's not going through bus 1 or going to bus 2 at all. So we'll go back here to pattern mode, and then I'm going to hit a pattern again. you'll see here, once I hit that pattern select button a second time, I can see the pads. I know green here, this is going to the delay. This pad number 7 is white, no effects whatsoever. Everything else here is going to whatsoever in bus 1. Volume. So volume, minimum and max. Let's play some. Pretty cool. So next we have our control 1, 2, and 3. You notice here at the bottom, this says cutoff, resonance, and drive. Now, if I hit this button here, you notice it comes on. Then it leaves. So it only remains on for a short time. But if I come to here and this effect is lit, I'm able to change the parameter for the cutoff. After it leaves, I can still go to here and turn it back, open up again, turn it back on. I can change the resonance right there. And here, of course, I can change the drive with the third. Now you notice too, when you're actually changing these things, you need to probably go back to the beginning somewhat to change it, go back over again, pull it back up. So sometimes I'll have to take the whole knob and go to the top or go to the end just to make sure it's activated and find the number I want to get to. But it works really good with anything. And the effect, here's the resonator, the delay. I can change the delay here. And it works also with, let's say, here's pattern edit. Now in this case, I can change the BPM, loop start, length. I can go to record. Let's leave this and go to record right here. I can press a pad I want to record to. Find a blank pad right there. And now I can change the BPM, the length, and the strength. These effects that are around the display here are pretty good. And what you're going to see is that you hit one of these effects, let's say this one here, oscillator right there, you'll see it appear here. And you'll notice also when you go to your bus, you'll see that effect appear here. The first bus, if that bus is on. If I go to here and I change this here, I go back, it's now delay. If I go to here and I change it here, I go back, and now it's the scatter. I'll go back to here, let's see, let's go to, back to here, let's go back to this one. And now it becomes filter. So you can add 2 effects to our bus situation. So now let's go back to this one here, I may want to put this one here. And now you can see scatters there, or I can go back to here. Now once it's highlighted, I can actually put that effect there. So these are our main effects that we have in our SP404 model. Is I want to make these samples go on separate pads, like a lazy chop you would do on an MPC. Now to do this, make sure my sample's right there. In order to make it like a lazy chop, like an MPC, I want to grab shift here, hit that, then hit right here. And once I do that, you'll notice here that the gate is gone. Now I have the ability to actually play it and hit a pad and place each section that I like on a pad once I hit it. Now you can also come back in here and I'll press here and you'll see it says auto mark. And I can auto mark the sample. That means it'll look at a 2-bar or 4-bar loop and look at that loop. And it'll say, okay, this is the first, second, and third, and the fourth bar, whatever. There's one first and second bar, or if it's a 1-bar loop, it may separate into 4 pieces, right? So I don't want to do that. I want to assign it myself. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go down here and press cancel. I'm out of that. Now we're ready to go. So I just got to hit the sample. Okay, it's all done. So now I come back here, I can go to So, as you can see, when I was hitting it, I hit it just before the beat came in. So you gotta be careful how you do that. Now, if you're doing it and you make a mistake, it's okay. What you wanna do here is you wanna go to exit, right? Then it says here, current marks will be lost when you exit. I like that. I'll turn my encoder knob, I'll press OK. They're all gone. But this is still here. It's still gated too, see that? So I'm starting back where I started before. So now I'm going to come to here, press shift and press start again. Try it again. Okay, now that's done. So let's try this. So as you can see, I'm more in line now with the bass drum. A main button that I use all the time that you will end up using a lot is this push enter encoder. So I can use this dial here to turn left or right or to push it in for a particular parameter. For example, if I come here and I got a sample I like, let's say we got a sample in here we'll go with. Nope. Okay, here's a sample. Now you may want to look inside this sample, like I gotta zoom in. What the hell's in there, right? So you can turn this encoder knob and I can zoom in. And you'll see here we're zooming in. There's 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's where you're zooming in, pretty deep. Now this is a sample. I think I want to like change the ending. So we can use the end, the control 3 knob to zoom in out of the end. And we want to change the start, we can use the start knob. Let's get it back down. There you go. To get the start of that sample. Now what's cool is that when you actually do this and you're here with the machine and you got the start going on here, you may want to zoom in now, right? So you zoom in again, you want to zoom in closer and closer, closer. Then change that start and end again. And so wait a minute, how do I change this? There you go. And you zoom in at the same time. So you need to use your encoder button here where I can push in and turn left or right, and either one of the top controllers, that means 1 for the start and controller 3 for the end. And it's a great way to sort of zoom into your sample or zoom out. Here's in, and I'm back out at 1 times zoom. Now another way, of course, to use it, let's go back to here. In this section here, of course, record settings, which is good. But I want to do it to a pattern. So let's go back to here. Out again. We're going to go to a pattern. We're going to record settings. Got to pick a place to put the pattern at. And now you'll notice here that I can change the shuffle amount here. Shuffle. I can change the grid to quarter note triplets, eighth note triplets, 16th note triplets, 32nd, and 64th. And of course, off. This is off totally. Nothing. No quantized value. We're able to do that, of course, with this knob right here. So it's very important to see what functions happen with this knob when you're in any parameter or you're in any sort of mode. I want to talk about another section right here, which is this section here, which is sort of our control section for pattern sequencing, recording, sampling. It's all right here. And you'll notice if you press here, we're in pattern select. Select that pattern. Out of it, I'm in samples. I can select any sample I want to select. Next, we have pattern edit. So we can't see no pattern edit. So I got to go to pattern first, then use pattern edit. And now here we can select the pattern we want to edit. So I've got a pattern right here, or I can go to this pattern, another pattern. I can play it back. I hit twice, that pattern plays. And as you can see, it plays, and we can see it move along. So I can play it, turn my audio levels down. And here we see, of course, the BPM, the length, and the loop start. So I can edit this pattern down. I can go here for the BPM. I can change the length of this pattern. As you can see there, now it's just 2 bars. I can edit it. I can change the loop start. I can move this pattern from here to there. See that? In terms of bars, this increment's going to move in terms of bars. So I can move in terms of bars when I'm here using the loop start. And this is all in pattern edit. You can see the name of the pattern here, number of measures, and here we have menu. We don't see a menu. So what we're going to do now, we're going to push in this button right here. See that? That button works again. And now we can have duplicate, crop, and cancel. Now next to that button over here, we have record settings. So I can't activate this until I've done something else. Let's go to exit, I'm out. I can go to record settings. Let's say I want to record something. I'll press record, and then I'll press settings. And now we're here, recording settings for a pattern. I'll stop that when I press the exit button again. I'm out of that. I'll leave here, and now I'm actually in sample mode where I can hit any pad, and if a sample is there, I can actually activate that sample. But when I go to record here and record settings now, and now we're going to see the BPM. We'll see here the routing, whether mix or external input. We can see the levels here too as well. In this case, 127. And here we have input effects. And you press this button in right here, and we can add effects to the input right there. Exit. I'm back here. Exit again. Exit again. It stopped. The pitch speed button. Push that in, and this is pitch speed. This is for our sample. So I got a sample here. So my third knob, I'm able to change the volume. Now the second knob, look, I'm doing nothing here. Now what needs to help it work is this thing here, which is BPM sync. This locks everything out. Now the gate it plays on and on. I put the gate on, I gotta hold it down to play the entire sample. But this BPM sync is stopping everything, so I want to change the pitch and speed. I need to turn this off, and you'll notice now that the speed and the pitch have changed to where I can actually use these knobs. Look at that. Now I'm changing the speed and the pitch at the same time. So I can change that totally right there. You notice I press shift here, I can actually change it now where I can change the panning and the fine tuning. I can fine tune my speed now. As you can see right here, it says fine, right there. And of course, it gives me which pad is activated. And here, of course, there's panning, left to right. The next feature I want to talk about here is the mark. The mark is right there. Skip back. I can go to skip back. I can skip back to the last thing I used and skip back and play that back, right? That's skip back. That's also for mark as well. So to mark, I can put a mark within a sample. And we'll explain more about this button when we get into sampling. So now I want to talk about a delete button. This delete button works for a sample. I can tap this button, hit a sample, it will light up. Then all I got to do is press the encoder button, sample's gone. Let's exit that route. I can turn on pattern select. Select the pattern, press this button to delete it. I'll push the encoder button in, it's deleted. So once this is on automatically. While in this case, when this is off, the samples are on the pads, then I have to activate the delete button. And I can deactivate it with the exit button. Now, of course, this is recording. This is resample. I may want to resample something. My resample button. Of course, we'll explain more of this when we get into sampling. Exit, I'm out of that. We have BPM sync. I've told you before how it worked. I can also turn it off and on. The gate off and on. I can loop something. I can reverse a sound. Let's reverse that sound right there. Okay, so unreverse. I can reverse the sound. Pretty cool. I can roll it. Quarter note. And this is sample mode right here. Beat sync, the gate, the loop, and we have reverse and the roll. I can pick a sample and I can do anything to it pretty much. Let's say I want to loop something. I'll get this bass drum here. It's looping. Take the loop off and it stops. So I can also loop longer samples too. Now next here, of course, we'll see we have copy. It's pretty simple. I want to copy something. I press the button. You'll see it says copy. I can say on pad 1 to pad 2. I can copy that. I push in my encoder button. It will copy this sample 1 on pad 1 to pad 2. But E1, and then we have E2. That means the E bank. Now let's leave that, exit that. Exit button one more time and it's out. How about if I go to pattern select? I want to copy. Well, the same thing happens here. I want to copy pattern number 1 and then to pattern number 2. I can copy that. Let's exit that. Exit once, twice, 3 times, and we're out. Now next, I want to talk about this button right here called Remain. Now Remain's kind of cool because I can actually see the parameters of any sample. So if I have a sample selected, I just play the sample there. That's E4. Once I play it, of course, you'll notice here, the sample I played there is E4. And then you'll see it's dry here, right? So watch this. I'll come here and press Remain. And now we can see everything about that sample. We can see if it's stereo or not. It's stereo. We can see the original BPM, which you'll see here it says 89. Pad link is off and pad mute group is off. So it's good to know to have information on a pad in case I want to add it to a mute group, to a link group, or find out what the original BPM is, or whether it's stereo or not. So once you press this startup button right here and you're dealing with your samples, what you want to do is check out everything. Controller number 1 is our start. I told you before, this is the start. Controller number 3 rather, is the end. Here in sampler mode, you'll see controller number 2 is off. It does absolutely nothing at this point. Now you'll see here also zoom is here with our data wheel or data knob. Here we are in sample number 7. This is sample number 8. And we're just zooming in, as you can see. And you'll notice too in the beginning that when the sound is loudest is where the sampler picks it up at. Now what happened was that we set the input of the audio to count in weight. And you see what happens when counting weight? It goes right to here. Now if I take my starter and sort of pull it back a little bit more, there you go. It went to right there. Well, I always feel the start point somewhere around here. So somebody goes in, it hears it, and then it records a little late for me. So I like to always get it on the hit right here. Right there on the hit. So watch that. When you are sampling in, make sure you get the right start point. Our banks. You can see here it says bank. These are our banks. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different banks buttons. But if I hit this button, it says A now. I come to there, if it blinks, that's F. That's A. That's B. That's G. That's C. That's H. That's D. That's E. That's J. That's I, as you can see. So if I hit a bank here like this and it's blinking, and I go back to this blank, that bank there is A. I make an F. Go back to this bank, it's blinking. I go back to here, it's still in a state of F. So once you hit a bank pad, and then it's in that state, either lit or blinking, it remains in that state until you hit it again. Even if you visit another pad. That's important to know, so you don't get mixed up. We have our shift button. This is a very important button, because if I press shift down, we can activate stuff like undo here. We can activate chop, right? Envelope. Here on the pads, you'll see different names. And so that means that shift allows us to activate these names under any button or pad. Here is this shift button, and each of these options you see below one of these pads. You can see under each of these pads here. And for example, I press shift here and I hit pad number 1, and this is fixed velocity. Now currently it's off, so if I hit a pad, the harder I hit it, the louder it sounds, right? So I come here, I press shift velocity, and then I'm going to press this again. It says fixed velocity is on. No matter how hard I hit it real hard or soft, it's still the same velocity. This is a great thing to have because you might just really miss a pad, but if you hit it and you don't hit it hard enough, it's all going to be. So next, what I want to do here now is shift and pad number 2. This is 16 velocity. Now you can see from this diagram that from pad 13, 14, 15, 16, and then we got 9, 10, 11, 12, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4. It gets louder from 13 to 4. So it'll be the last sound I hit. So in this case, it's a snare drum. As you hit it, you'll see that it lights up here on the graph to tell you what that velocity is. About Q. So we're going to press shift and we're going to press Q right here. And you can see Q is activated. Let's press exit and we're out of Q. Let's press pad select. I'll press shift again. I'll hit pad number 3. Please exit pad select. or pattern select. So I can't use it in pattern select. So I'm going to turn this off, and I go to Shift and I'll hit Q, and now I can use Q. Now what Q does, it separates the outputs. So currently I have the audio level set to my little speaker here in the headphone set output. That's what we're hearing here. So if I come to here, and if I come to here and do this, that's the audio level, right? And you'll see this is somewhat in the middle right here. So if I want to send it to Q and not send it to any output, like send it to the main output or send it to the computer output, I would just come to here. Now it's getting loud, see that? But if I send it here to M, it's going to the main output. So this goes to the headphone set output. That's what that Q does. So it separates the outputs. So you can have a different cue, you can hear something before you send it out. I'm going to press this fourth pad, which is Chromatic. So this is Chromatic. So I've already selected the pad already. That pad that was selected is pad number 1. And I can come to here. That's the original. Now you notice here it says 0. So this means this is the actual pitch of this sample. That's up. So I can change the pitch of any sample. Samples here, and this is chromatic mode. And I can also play it within a pattern. Pretty easy. To exit this, I just come right to here, and we're out of it. Under pad number 5, it says exchange, so I'm going to exit where I'm at now. I'm going to go to Shift, press pad number 5. I can exchange pads. I can say, well, let me put this over here and you put this over here. I may want to keep my drum patterns tight. Like I might want to keep the snare here and the kick here, and currently the snare could be here, right? So I can come to here and press this and press that. I can exchange the 2 pads. So it's pretty simple. Let's go back here. I'll exit this out. One more time again, I'm exit out. See this again. Okay, we got those 2 sounds there. Let's say I want the kick drum here. We're going to go and press Shift, press Exchange, and we're going to exchange this with this, and I'll push the button in. Now the snare drum's here. And we've exchanged the sounds. Let's switch them back now. I'll go to here to Shift. I'm going to press Exchange again, and I'm going to go to here, and I'll push this in, and now it's that easy. Operation complete. Or I can come to here, press Shift, init program. I want to just cancel. I can cancel that way. Simple. Or I can press Shift, init program, and then cancel here too as well. Sometimes I want to link pads together, or you might want to. You may have 2 or 3 different hi-hats. You might want to have them hit the same time or whatever, right? Or snare drum. So there's a hi-hat there. Let's link these 2. So I'm going to go here, I'm going to press Shift, I'm going to press pad number 7. I can link, and you'll see here we have a list. We have the different banks. I can select the bank. I'm currently in A bank. It says that. And then here, I can have the pad and the bank linked. So it doesn't matter. It could be any bank, any pad. We can link them together in a pad link group. So here, for example, I hit that. You'll notice that right here, you see that. I come to here at that. You see it there. So now we got 2 of them linked together. So that sounds cool. So now what I'm just going to exit that. Hit the pad. See, I can hit this one. That one activates. Because you can tell because it lights up. Right there. Now, I can go back to here, press Shift, go to Pad Link, and then I can just hit those pads, and now they're unlinked, as you can see right here. I can go to Exit. Now they're separated. Do the same thing here. Let's see this. Let's go to Shift, Pad Link. I'm going to do these two sounds. Notice you can't even hear them, right? You can link them, but you don't hear them when you're trying to link them, which I don't like, but that's no problem with that. So you see the link, and that's kind of harder too, so. I like that. It's not too bad. Well, that's how we can actually use the link. Now, a lot of times I'm taking samples and I don't want them to play at the same time, particularly an open hi-hat and a closed hi-hat. So for example here, that's an open hi-hat. That's a closed hi, just hitting that hat. So this lasts too long. This will give me that feel I want to have, that pss, pss, right? Like you would hear on a disco record or something. So here what I would do, I would put them in the same mute group. So I'd come to Shift here, I'll press pad number 8 for mute group, and you'll see here I already have one mute group set up already, which is the A mute group. I want a new one, so I go to here, I gotta have a B mute group. And so now what I'll do is I'm going to pick the pads of the mute group. Okay, that's good. So now I'll just exit that, and now I'll play it. See, it cuts it off. So this plays like that, or let's try that one too. I'm gonna come to here, and I'm going to make that a mute group too as well. So I'm gonna go to Shift, hit pad number 8. We're gonna go to group B. I want to add this one in too, which is good. See it turn blue here. I'll exit that, and now watch this. Or that cut off, you can hear that cut off there much better than before. Here it's like you can hear that real quickly, but here, that's how long it really is. But if I go here, it cuts it right off. And that's how mute group works. Now we have Metronome, which is right here. Now I'm actually in pattern mode here. I'm going to press Shift, hit the metronome, and then in display it says Metro mode on. I hit it again, Metro mode on. Metronome off. On, off, on, off. See that? And so I need to have that on sometimes. If I press this record button, we hear the metronome. Let's go to here and we'll stop this. Let's press Shift off. Press record button. We hear nothing. Now I prefer the metronome on when I'm going to record a pattern. It makes it easier for me to go through my pattern and prepare before I start recording. So I prefer to go metronome on. So even while this button is on here, I can activate the metronome on or off. There's always a counting when I record too with the metronome. There could be a 1-bar count in, a 2-bar count in, or I can just hit play and I may want to play it after the first beat, so no need to have a counting. So we're going to press Shift and press counting. You'll see I can change the state of the counting. It could be off. Counting could be 1 measure. Counting could be 2 measures. Counting could be wait. It can wait till I hit that pad and then it starts working. So that's kind of cool too as well. So let's do that. We're going to come to here. Metronome is on. Now, I hit a pad. So now I can record something on a pad. I'm going to press Shift and hit this counting. I can't do anything now. See that? So to exit this, I'm going to press Shift, select my counting first. We'll do 2-bar counting. Now I'll press record. Now I'll select the pad to record to. Then I'll press this again. 2, 3, 4, start. Let's stop that. So you saw that. That was 2 bars counting, and then that sequence came in and played. I could add something to it, but I had the counting first for 2 bars. Now I can press shift again. I'll go to counting, and now I'll make it 1 bar. I'll come to record, get a pad to play to, hit this, 3, 4, go. Exit that real quickly. And that's how we can use count. Okay, the next button I'll talk about here is the tap tempo idea. So I'll press shift and we'll hit the tap tempo button. And now you can see here in the window, we have tempo. Select. And that's C1. And here you'll see we have bank and we have project. Now if I turn this first control knob, I can select project. Now you see the BPM is set to 90. If I want to tap the tempo, I would use the sub pad to tap. It says right there. See, my sub pad is blinking. Now I can come to here and go to B bank. It's the B bank. I can change the tempo of the B bank. And here it's 107. And I can also use the sub pad to tap the tempo. This one right here. I can go to, okay, it's 118 now. So you can see I can change the tempo of the entire bank. And that's how tap tempo works. When you're through, just exit right there. Now I want to talk about gain, which is pad number 12 once the shift button is depressed. So I'm going to push this shift button in, I'm going to hit pad number 12, and you can see here in our window, we have the gain. This is our gain right here. And so I can, the attenuator, I can gain that up. The noise gate is off, right? So I can change these two, this is off and this is off. I come here for line out. I can increase the output. I can do headphone set out. Now, for example, right now I've got the headphone set on. The headphone set output is going through our speaker right here. Let's bring this down a little bit. That's better. We'll take this one, this sample, I'll play it back, and I'm going to move this cursor line here down, and I'm going to move it down here to phone's output. I hit that pad there. Now I'm going to push this in. I reduced it, and I can increase it. That's plus 6 dB. That's 0 dB. That's minus 6 dB. That's minus 12 dB, 18. I can go as low as minus 18 dB or up plus 12 dB on the output. Now, this is great when you want to send your output someplace. You're in a club somewhere, you might want to send this output somewhere through a speaker system since you're a DJ. But it's always cool to be able to control the output and gain it or bring it down right here within your SP404 MK2. And of course, my main volume control still works. Let's talk about utility. So I want to come in, press shift, press pad number 13, and see what happens. It says, please exit pattern mode. Please exit pattern mode. You can't see that until you do that. So I'm going to exit pattern mode, exit, out of pattern mode. Okay, now I'm good. I'll press shift and press pad 13, and now we can see we have the utility menu. We have system, pad set, effect set, import, backup, and we have our factory. So if I come to here and I move around here by using my encoder knob, we get to the end, get back to the top. We can select which utility we'd like to check out. Now, for example, this is system. Now here it's on gain right here, right now, right? That's gain. But I can use control knob number 3 to go back and forth. For example, I come to the very end, I can see the version of the software is 1.4. I come to the other side, I can see general. Edit knobs, mode. Effects knob mode. Load project. It loads the last project. Sub-pad mode. Re-trigger, which means I can hit a pad. It re-triggers it. Auto trigger level. That's right, screen saver time. Whoa. So after 10 minutes, the screensaver will activate. And this is right here on the system. To exit, come out of here, and we're there. So there are different parameters we'll cover later on, but it's to get you an idea of how to get through everything here. This is our utility menu, and we can access system, pad, effects, import, backup, and factory. And to get there, we're just going to press shift and press pad 13. I'm going to look at this import export right here on pad number 14. So here I'm going to press shift, hit pad number 14, and what you see here is import from SD card, export to SD card, format SD card, and then cancel. So this is all about our SD card. You may want to save, so you want to pretty much come to this card and format a brand new card. Format it so it can be used by our SP404 MK2. Once it is, I can import from the card or export from that card. And we have cancel to as an option. Whatever option we select, we push down here on our encoder knob. Then I can go here to exit. Okay, so now what I want to do now is I've got this card. It's a 32 gigabyte card. A 32 gigabyte card right here. I want to format it. So I'm going to take the card. I'm going to do this blind, get the slot here. Oh, goes in pretty quick right there on the side, right? And now I'm going to go to shift. And I'm going to hit pad number 13, utility. Boom. And here we are, pad number 13. Now I'm going to go here to SD. It says import, but everything's here. I can import, export. I need to format this card. I'll press format. And are you sure? Yes, I am. Push this in, and then we're doing the format. It's working, it's working, it's working. Do your job right there. And please do the job good. So we're waiting now. And I'm still waiting. Uh-oh, operation complete. And it's done. The card has been formatted. Now, what I'm going to do right now, I want to get the latest update. Now, it's now at 1.14. Let's do that. Okay, so now, as you see the animation's going on here, turn that off, I want to now update my SP404. So I'm going to come over here, I'm going to leave cancel, get out of this thing here, and then I'm going to get out of here to just escape this. Yeah, there we go. I'm going to take this card, and I'm going to slide it into the slot right here on the side. All right? Cool. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the machine off. It's off, but I want to hold down shift this time when I turn it back on. So I'm going to turn it back on here like this, and it says found. Okay, so it found the update. That's very good. So now I press enter, and the update is working here. Now updating, it says here at the bottom. See this here? It says now updating. update or erase here. So we're waiting for it to update and see what happens here. Well, there it is. We're updating right now. One says okay, as the other one keeps going. And hopefully that'll say okay as well. It's my first time. And first time's always the hardest, and here we go. But it's a first. And it's okay. Update complete. Please power off. So we'll power it off here. Boom. It's off. So how do we know it's right? You never know. So let's go to here and turn it back on. Well, I can turn it back on without holding the shift button. It's a new update. How do we know it's the right one? Well, we're going to go to here. We're going to press shift and go to utility again. We're in utility. Well, I'm going to go in systems. So I'll press system. Sounds good to me. So we're in systems. We have general. We have click. We have MIDI. Let's keep scrolling here. What do we got here? To the very end. And now at the very end, it's now at version 1.14. We've updated our SP404 MK2. Now next here we have the pad number 15. We have the pad settings. So I'm going to press shift, hit pad 15, and now you'll see here trigger. So when I hit a pad, how does it trigger that particular sound, right? So this is the curve type right here, which is linear right here, LIN, I prefer. Threshold is 1, the gain is 66 right here, and the trigger span is 1. So all my settings are pretty much standard the way it comes. And we have fixed velocity. That means when I hit a pad, its velocity will be the loudest it can be for fixed velocity. And you can mess around here to get an idea how it works to help you figure it out. But it's pretty much the way they give it to you. It's probably the best way to use it. But you can always go in. You can move your cursor down. You can say, here, I want to try this now. Linear. Oh, exponential. Log, fixed, I'll go back to linear. You can change it once you like it, push the button in, select the next parameter, and you can change that. Threshold level, whoa, look at that. So I can come here, and you can already see we set the max velocity, so I can always come to shift, and I would press, I go back here to shift, exit first, go to here, shift, turn max velocity off, I come back to shift, hit the pad settings, and now I can come to here. Let's work on this. And you can see a graph right here showing you how the gain is changing as I change the parameter for gain. I'll put my gain back to 66, right there. And that's how our pad settings button works. Okay, next we'll look at this effects settings. So I'll press shift, I'll go to pad number 16, and now we've got something that looks pretty complicated for you probably. And here you can see we have bus 1, 2, 3, and 4. So we have 4 different buses we can send effects out to. And it says favorite right here, right? It says a favorite. So here, favorites appears favorite. There's 1. Have I got one selected? No, I haven't got one selected there. Nothing selected at all. See, this doesn't do anything here. Watch this. I'll put this down here. But I have this one here. And you can see here, I can go to other, which is right here, which is bus 4. I go to bus 3, and I'm back in favorites. So I can assign effects to these effects settings. I may want to have a particular setting. Like for example, here, you see here, this is tied into here, and this is 303 vinyl. Now I'll explain this later on in the overall video, but I want to get you familiar that these bottom 4 buttons here, we have utility, import, pad settings, effect settings, are all found in that one big value menu you see when I actually hit shift and I hit 13 for utility. And here we can assign our effects right to our different bus routes, whether it's 1, 2, 3, or 4. Next, So you want to do this bus effect. So I can come to here. I got my bus on here, right? This is the bus. Bypass, bypass is the bus. So I can always come to here, this bus here, and I added sync delay to that one. Here's 2. Add resonance to 2, which is scatter right here, and this is sync delay. I come to here, bypass. I go to here, bypass. So now there's no effects on those buses. I can also come to here, press shift. I want to mute those effects. Sounds cool, I want to mute them, so they're muted here. I can mute the effects if I have them on there already. I can mute them, I can bring them back again by just pressing this button again. Pretty simple to do. And that's mute the bus. Sometimes I'm working and then there's a phone ring, or someone calls my name, or the wife goes like, it's time to eat. You know, I'm doing this. I got a project I got to do, you know. And so I can't hear them sometimes because sometimes I got a headset on, like maybe most of us do, you know. You pull the headset out and say, okay, I'm doing something. I'm going to keep it quiet. And so I'm doing that right here. I'll go there, right. I'll put the project on, going like, oh, that's dope. I'm not hearing noise. What? So simply I press here and here. I pause. Oh, yes, dear. Who is it on the phone? Whatever, you know. You want to answer or respond. So I pause it right where it's at. When I want to go back to what I'm doing, I'll come back, I'll go right here, go, oh, okay, now I'm back in. This is a pause. 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 Pretty simple stuff. And sometimes you do want to pause. And that's how we use pause. We press shift, we press this hold button, and we activate pause. Now next I have this thing called input settings, and this is for our input. So it's our external source. So I come to here, press shift, I'll hit this right here, and now we have our input settings. And you can see right here you can have the settings for the BPM for record, routing. That's the input setting for routing. I can always come to here, like boom, external source for routing. Bring in my guitar. Now in this video I want to talk about projects. And projects are banks. Any one of these banks, the 10 banks we have, and patterns that we have, and all these samples, everything in the machine as a project. And you can have up to 16 different projects. Now, for example, I can come here and press shift and hit subpad right there. That means select a project. So I have projects that are right here. Let's say I select this project right there. It's loading in. You'll notice here, nothing's in here. In the patterns or the bank, this is an entire blank project. I can start recording here. I can pull in drum samples, pack them all in here, and create a brand new project. That means if I fill up all the banks and all the patterns, that's another project. I want to switch projects. I can press shift, go to here again, press shift and hit the pad right there. Oh, can't be in pattern mode. Turn off pattern. Gotta go press shift, hit this again. Now we see the projects. Of course, the ones that are illuminated right here are the ones that are projects. The other ones that are sort of dim are not. So here, this is the current project. I can go to here. What's on that project? Load it in. Nothing's there. I'll press shift and I'll press subpad again, which actually is project. I'll press number 1. It's going to load it in, and now we have our project, and our samples are back. And I can also copy or delete a project. Let's say I got a project here, which is this first one here. I want to copy it. I'm going to press shift, hit project right here. Okay, I'll press copy. So I'm going to copy this one to here. And I'll just push in my data wheel, working, it's copying all those samples, everything else. Make sure I can store it, a copy of it here as a new project, project number 2. If I come to here and press shift here and then press subpad, I can select the project. I'll select this one right here, It's working. The one I selected is there, which is actually the same one already. So got something in it now. That's project number 2. I'll press shift and press the sub pad again for project, and you'll see that that's there. I go back here to 1 and load 1 in. And now 1's there. If I want to delete a project, I can press shift here. I'm going to hit the project button right there. I want to delete a project. I'm going to hit this button right here. I'm saying delete. So I'm going to hit this button right here. Hold it. Let me go back to shift, hit the project. I want to delete a project. I want to delete this project right there. There it is. It's blinking now. I want to delete that project. Now I come to right here. I'm working. That project's gone. Now I want to load back in the other project. I want to shift project, and I want to load this project in. And now it's all there. So it's a great way to store stuff directly in the SP404. You can create many projects as long as you have enough memory for it. And it's a really cool way to have one project in one place, one in another place. Sort of like it a lot. Check it out. When you start, create your own project. Pulls in here, so so the samples are there. Now what I want to do next is I want to probably edit these samples and sort of get some idea of how they really sound. Let's do that next. Samples, I can hit those pads right here and you'll see them right here, of course. It's pad 6, this is pad 8. Now the reason why I've got them on 2 different pads, first of all, is I want to show you something about this sampler. So I'm going to hit pad 8 here. Okay, good. And you can see here it says J8. I'll hit 6, that's J6, so you'll know as you look here. So I'm going to come here to pad 8. I'm going to push in this button, our encoder button, and I want to probably go to here and use emphasis. Now emphasis is supposed to add some more top end, high end. I want to see if it actually does that and how good it does it. I go to here, and now operation complete. Now I'll hit it. Hit this one. Yeah, a little bit different. Now also, if I want to make it louder, normalize the sound, it's pretty simple. I'll just go to here. Once we're in J6, hit the menu button, normalize this, boom. You see it's much louder than before. Now hit the pad. That's really loud. So I'm going to bring down my audio level right here. Bring that down a little bit more. Okay, hit this. The original sound. See that? So normalizing helps a whole lot. So I'll normalize again here for this one. This is J8. So you hear somewhat of a little bit of a difference between the two when emphasis is on this one, J8, and there's no emphasis here on J6 pad. But they have both been normalized. So I'm going to normalize this one too as well, make it easier. So this way we can hear them all back about the same level. And then this one too, normalize that one as well. So normalizing really works a lot. So when you take a sample in, always try to normalize that sample. It sounds pretty good when doing it here on the SP4. Once you press this startup button right here and you're dealing with your samples, what you want to do is check out everything. Controller number 1 is our start. I told you before, this is the start. Controller number 3 is the end. Here in sampler mode, you'll see controller number 2 is off. It does absolutely nothing at this point. Now you'll see here also zoom is here with our data wheel or data knob. Here we are in sample number 7. This is sample number 8. And we're just zooming in, as you can see. And you'll notice too in the beginning that when the sound is loudest is where the sampler picks it up at. Now what happened was that we set the input of the audio to count in weight. And you see what happens when counting weight, it goes right to here. Now if I take my starter and sort of pull it back a little bit more, there you go. It went to right there. Well, I always feel the start point is somewhere around here. So someone that goes in, it hears it, and then it records a little late for me. So I like to always get it on the hit right here. Right there on the hit. So watch that. When you are sampling in, make sure you get the right start point. And I'm zoomed in for this one. I went in by 11 times. Let's go back out. Just move back out a little bit. The cursor with this encoder wheel, I can see, this is really good. It's the beginning of this wave starting to play in the sample. Now the endpoint is pretty simple. So I would come to here for the endpoint. And if I want to find an endpoint for a sample, I'm going to just press roll. And that gives me the end rather than moving my cursor to the end. So what I normally will do though, I will come back out here like this. I'll look at the end here. I want to zoom in. And once I do zoom in, I'm going to the end. And you can see I am here at the end. As I move cursor number 3, you see that. So here, as you can see here, we got to the end point. And so you want to make sure you just adjust the end point, but to always hear it, you just want to press and get the end of that sample. Now once you get the front and the end of the sample, you're good. You can always truncate and chop it up. So for this sample, I can come to here and I can truncate. I got my end, I got the beginning. I push this in, and now it gets rid of stuff I really don't need. So it gets the stuff in the middle. Whatever after end or before start has been cut off. Now once I get the beginning and the end, I may want to loop the whole thing, right? So to loop it, I'd come in, press loop, and watch what happens to control knob number 2. It says loop. And what happens now, I can move the loop point with control knob number 2. Get your loop right, you can press remain, and that locks in the start point and the end point of the sample. So here I've got a pattern set right here. That's pretty cool. It's 4 bars. So I'm gonna come record on top of here. Here our metronome. So now I can record. So I'm gonna look for some beats. I'll press this now, I'm rehearsing. Get a different drum maybe. Pretty simple. So I look at my settings here, and we'll see here that I've got these 8-note triplets, which I don't want to have. I'm going to go pretty much with 16ths right there. That's good enough for me. And here we can see that we're on H8, which is the pattern. And that's my BPM right there. Okay, good. And rehearse. And here. Okay. Now to start that, I come in, exit, and I'm out of it. That's pretty simple how to just add a beat to it. Now I've actually gone over it already, made some different ideas and takes to it to make it much more simpler for me. So normally, that's what I would do. So I'll just come to here and play it. Part 2. Come in here and I can use this button here, the mark button, the mark of spots. So I can come in here, play my sample from the beginning. Now watch, I'll press it. I hit my mark button where I want to loop it. See, it rushed in that time, that's bad. I looped it too soon. So I can pull this back more, hit my number 3 button again, go to my 3 control knob, turn that. Okay, try it again. It's a little too much there, but I can use this to actually set a different loop point within the sample. So I moved up a little bit more. And I want to come here and press it down. Okay, so I can move and set my loop point. Now here it's so difficult sometimes because you'll hit it and it won't move to the right spot. So you've got to get it right. And now I've got this thing. So I'm going to come to here, I'm going to press my velocity on. There you go. Velocity is always the same. Now I can press it. So it's too soon. So I want to do that marker. So you want to sort of hit that mark button to mark off a loop point.